Yes, greetings, blessings, people. We're at the top of the hour, 3 o'clock here in the UK, and I have a very special guest joining me, and I'm really excited to announce that she has reached my top 5. Okay, that's how I came about this tune, first of all, In and Out of Love. But now she's here, live and direct, right on the radio. So, of course, special guest, let the people know who you are.
Greetings, kings and queens. My name is Kenya Eugene, straight out of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Ooh. You know what? Since I've said that I'm interviewing you, everyone's asking me if, first of all, if your name is your real name. So let's clear that up. Is your name your real name?
It actually is. It really is. Give thanks to my godmother. She named me Kenya.
Nice.
I don't know what the reason was behind of it, but I'm grateful.
I love that. I love that. So you know what, sis? I feel like we need to talk about your journey. How did you get into music? How did it all happen?
Well, I actually come from a very musical family. My dad used to sing a lot. His brothers sang. My uncles by my mom's side are players of instruments. I just grew up in a household where my dad and my mom played music all the time. So there was always a lot of singing and music and reggae playing in the house, a bunch of different genres, and I guess it was just ingrained in me since I was a little youth. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So, I mean, I mentioned the song In and Out of Love. I feel like we can start from there, because when I had that tune come through on my emails, I played it and I kept on playing it. So that's why it reached number 1. So tell me about this tune and like the inspiration behind it, because it's a fire tune.
Give thanks. The song has so many meanings to so many different people. But for me, when I personally wrote it, it was coming from experience and sometimes being in a toxic relationship where you think you're in love, but you're not really in love, and you're in and out of love because it's like one time things are great, and then the other time it's really toxic. And then a lot of times it happens when the relationship is unequally yoked, and there's just issues that you bump heads on constantly. I also was writing this for women who were really in toxic relationships where it's like abusive. And a lot of times when you say abusive, people think it's always physical, but in this instance, I'm really talking about like verbal abuse, mental abuse. Like, you ain't good enough, you're never gonna make it without me, nobody else ain't gonna want you. You know, that type of, abuse.
Yes, people, we're back. We're live and direct once again. We were just talking there about your inspiration behind In and Out of Love, and you actually touched on a really serious topic about relationships and kind of more the abusive side of things. So
yeah, definitely. Sometimes people think, a lot of people probably get the idea that the song is more on a lighter side because of the melodies and the harmonies and how beautiful it is, but there's a more deeper meaning to it. And I touch a lot on like domestic violence, really and true, and just not just the physical aspect of it, but really the mental aspect of it. It's just somebody being able to say to you that you're not good enough, and you will never be able to find somebody better than me. That's still abuse, you know what I'm saying? That's verbal abuse, that's mental abuse. And a lot of times we end up, as women, we end up in these cycles, and that's not just to say it's women, because it happens to men too. Although probably not as often as women, but
I hear you. So this particular song, when you were writing it, was it difficult to write because of the topic that you're touching on?
Actually, no.
Okay.
Because some of it I actually experienced, and I have people in my life that actually live this right now, and who have actually went through it. So it was something that came pretty easy to me.
Okay.
And I think that the topic is not something that you would normally expect to come from such a beautiful song. Because it's so nostalgic. It makes you feel feel like it's just such a wonderful song, and it is, but the topic is so different. It's not what you generally expect, but it's heart music, you know. Anytime I listen to music, if it pulls at my heartstrings, I go with whatever emotions come to me.
Yeah.
And so where that came from.
True, but you know what you said, like you said, the song is a beautiful song, but that's just like a relationship, isn't it? It starts out beautiful.
Yes.
And then you see you hear all the little kinks and all the little things that are going on within that relationship. So it's just like a relationship.
Yeah.
So you spoke about your family is a very musical family, but do you remember that time where you thought, yes, I wanna take this further now for yourself?
You know what? I have always loved singing, and I was reminded a few years ago by an old teacher of mine. Like, I was in Head Start. Okay. Practically maybe about 4 years old, and I decided I wanted to sing for my entire class.
Oh wow.
And so I brought my mom's radio and a cassette and my favorite song, and I did so well that they made me sing for the entire Head Start. Like, all the classes, all the teachers came out and I sang for them, and that was my first performance there, live performance. And I decided that I wanted to do that forever.
Yeah,
right?
I hear that.
And so I kind of always knew from then that that's what I wanted to do, and I would say it. And as I got older, I started performing at different like government functions. I started performing at different functions at like the military base, like family events. I sang for senators, groundbreakings. Then I started doing a whole lot of weddings.
Okay.
And this is me just growing up from elementary straight up to high school. I started being flown out to go sing to different weddings in different parts of the United States. And at some point in life, like, you know, life happens, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a bunch of different experiences, and I kind of had to scale back on the music for a little while and live my life. And then after a while, like, I think it was maybe like 2008, it clicked again, and I was like, I am tired of singing just to do a favor for people, or not taking my music seriously like it's an actual business, you know?
I hear that.
And that year, I decided, my husband, which is was my boyfriend then, we decided that he'd be my manager and we'd take my music to another level. And since 2008, we just never looked back. We've just been grinding and pushing the music and taking it to higher heights.
Well, all I can say is give thanks, because you did the right move. the fact that I get to hear it is just an energy, I'm telling you. And
give thanks.
Am I right in saying Desiree's your sister?
Yes, that's my big sister.
Okay, and you know, I've got to ask you, I'm sure she loves every song, but does she give you some tips and advice?
Oh gosh, she gave me so many tips, like, especially when it comes to writing. She was key in terms of me developing my writing skills.
Oh, nice.
I remember when I first started trying to write my own music, I was frustrated because I wanted to write gospel music at first.
Okay.
And I just wasn't getting the inspiration. Everything that came to me was like heartbreak and relationship and love. And it came natural to me because growing up as a child, I sang a lot of grown-up songs. Like, I sang a lot of Whitney Houston songs, Luther Vandross, you know. I love that type of music, right? Yeah. And so it came so natural to me that was the only thing that was coming out of me. And she was like, why are you trying to write something that you're not inspired to write? Yeah. If you're not inspired to write gospel, then don't write gospel. Write what's pouring out to you right now. Write what's coming out to you. Yeah. So she was like, if heartbreak is coming out, write it. If love is coming out, write it. And no matter if you think it's a horrible song, just keep writing, because it's good practice. Yeah. Right? And that was the best advice I had ever gotten with regards to writing music. You know, it's just like, write what you feel, don't force it. Yeah. Write what's coming out to you. And that's key in all every song that I've written thus far to date, because I took that advice to heart, and it really and truly helped develop my writing skills and just the topics, everything that I write about. And I don't think she knows like how much that affected me, that advice. But it was like one of the greatest advice that I've ever gotten. In terms of which one of my songs she really likes, she likes everything. But there's one song that has not been released yet.
Okay.
It's not a reggae song. It's more of an inspirational song, and she just loves that song.
Wow.
And she's like, why didn't you release it? Why aren't you releasing it yet? And I don't know, it's something in me that just wants to keep this song so close to my heart.
Yeah.
I feel like now is not the time. I need to release it when I feel like I could do it justice. You know what I mean? The song is so big. It's a ballad. And I just really love that song. And she's like, lose it. You need to lose it, you know? So I'm probably going to take her advice pretty soon. But that's her favorite song. It's called Sacrifice.
Oh, wow. I hope I get that.
Yes.
I hope I get that.
You definitely will.
Nice. I love that. And you know, what you spoke there about writing and talent, which is what your whole family have, is talent. Do you think that's missing nowadays? Is it more just quick music?
I think it is. I think that's something key and essential that's missing. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there's also a responsibility that comes with everything that comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You know, especially as an artist. And I think that's one of the things that the artists of today, well, I won't say the artists of today, but some artists lack the knowledge to truly understand that word is power. You know, sound is power.
Wow.
Everything that comes out of your mouth matters, you know. But yes, a lot do lack the talent and the I don't even know what to call it at this time. It's just a lot of people do lack that oomph, you know, the feeling of the music, because right now we're getting a lot of slackness coming out.
Yeah. 100%.
And everything is just sex sells, you know. And that's the sad part about it. And they don't understand that we as musicians or singers or songwriters, we have a responsibility to put good music out there, music that's going to inspire people, music that somebody can relate to, you know, just music that we are all going to benefit from.
Yes,
it's not just about music that sounds good and oh, let's just go have fun. I get that, you know?
Yeah.
But that just can't be all that it's about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree.
100%. And you mentioned a point there that I always say, which is, for some reason people are just obsessed with sex. They're just obsessed. And it's like we've had these organs for so long. We know what it means. We know what we do with it. Why do you think
it's overrated?
Yeah, like what's the obsession?
It's overrated.
It is. And you know, as somebody who plays, you know, roots music, I find that people who are in reggae, lovers rock, and like kind of the alternative vibes, it's a lot harder to get on the bigger stages. How are you finding it as an artist? Are you finding it just as hard, or?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It has been a struggle, but I must say that doors are being opened, and I'm going to continue to put that energy out there, because I have been blessed with a gift
100%.
and I have to share it, right? And God gave it to me for a reason, and nobody can stop it, not even myself.
That's true.
You know, so I have to continue to kick down the doors, no matter how hard that may seem, or no matter the challenge. I have to either kick the doors down or create the door and kick it down, you know?
I love that.
But it's definitely difficult, because a lot of times some of the promoters don't see your value.
Yeah,
you know,
I hear that.
they don't see your value or what you bring to the table or what you're capable of doing. A lot of people don't see that.
Yeah.
So you have to show it to them, and I get it. You gotta do what you have to do until you could get where you want to be. You know.
That's it. So,
I'm dedicated to just being used as a vessel.
yeah, I hear that. We've just got a message from a listener. They're asking, how did you get into reggae? Because the Virgin Islands, they don't really associate that with reggae. And I want to know your opinion on that.
Really?
Yes, well, that's what a listener's saying. That's what the listener's saying. You have to tell them off.
No.
Tell them.
The Virgin Islands is heavy in reggae music, especially roots reggae, especially St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, where I'm from.
Yeah.
Heavy roots vibes.
Yeah.
You know, there was a movement maybe decades ago in terms of reggae music, and there's a specific sound that comes out of the Virgin Islands, and when you hear it, you know it.
Damn.
If you really know reggae music and you're into it, you can pick out a reggae artist from the Virgin Islands easily.
Yeah.
We love extremely heavy bass. There's a specific sound, you know.
Yeah.
When you look at the artists that came out of the Virgin Islands, you're talking about Midnight, Aki Becca.
Yeah.
You're talking about Army, Desiree. They have a specific sound, pressure bus pipe, you know. It's heavy in the reggae. So I've always had that influence around me growing up as a child.
Yeah.
But I chose to sing R&B music because I also loved R&B and I loved ballads, and I am a balladeerist at heart. I love ballads.
Yeah.
Absolutely love. And so I chose to sing R&B growing up. And actually, when the pandemic hit, that is when I decided to make the switch over to reggae, because I had certain experiences where I started not to love R&B anymore.
Okay.
I didn't love it as much as I used to. And for a while I just chose to back off of performing any. I just stopped performing for a while. I just couldn't do it anymore. I found that every time I sang, I had to force myself to move, and I just was like, I don't like doing this anymore. There's like this expected level of perfection when it comes to R&B, and I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I felt like I just couldn't be myself enough, and at one point I was like, you know, and I already had reggae just ingrained in me. Like, even though I sang R&B, I would listen to reggae heavy, like all the time.
It's that rebel in you. It's the rebel in you. That's what that is.
Yeah, you know, I love listening to rock music. I love listening to reggae, alternative music, and when I pulled away from reggae, I had to do some self-reflection, and from R&B, I had to do some self-reflection and decide what I really wanted to do musically with my life, or just period, what I wanted to do, because I was miserable just singing R&B. I just felt like I couldn't be myself. And I just had an epiphany when I was driving down the highway. I was like, the only music that I think I can listen to and I can't sit still is reggae.
Wow.
I thought to myself, like, what genre of music can I listen to and just have to feel it, have to move, have to sway, have to tap my feet, feel it, you know? And that was reggae. I was like, so why am I not singing reggae anymore? Because it's not like when I did my R&B album and I sang R&B, there was always a reggae song included. It was always some type of lovers rock somewhere, you know. And I was like, why am I not just singing reggae? That's what I actually really and truly love. Yeah. And then I got the idea to just merge it. I was like, I could sing some R&B, have my R&B influences vocally, and I can also chant or DJ, as some people say, and I could merge that.
Yeah.
And so I just made a call one time, and I called my music director at the time. He also was a part of a band called Bamboo Station. Okay. And they are a roots band out of the Virgin Islands. And this band was, you know, it has people from St. Croix and St. Thomas. And so it was like a combination of, you know, different Virgin Islanders that were around the world.
Nice.
I called him and I gave him my idea, and I was like, send me some some music. I want like just heavy roots. Don't think about what I'm gonna put on it. Just give me some heavy roots. And he did that, and instantly I was so inspired. I chose the songs that I wanted. I chose the music that I wanted, and I started to write. And that was it. That was where it came from. I did not look back.
I can see.
That was it. I was like, I think this is where I need to be.
Wow. You know what? I feel like everything happens for a reason. So you had to go through that self-reflection stage to find who you are.
Yes.
Definitely happens for a reason. But I feel like I need to come to the Virgin Islands, man. Where all this energy is.
You need to come. We have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But one thing I wanted to ask you is, I seen a video of Queen Amiga when she touched down in Africa, and I'm not gonna lie, it made me cry. And I wanted to know how you felt, because when I touched in Africa, the same experience of that emotion was really deep, and I wanted to know how you felt, and have you been to Africa and so forth.
Oh yes, definitely. So there's always been a longing to go home, to go to Africa. And during the pandemic, I tell you, everything happened during the pandemic for me. The pandemic, whereas it might have been a terrible, like really tough time for other people, and I really sympathize with that. For me, the pandemic was a blessing. It was such a blessing in disguise. It was a blessing. We decided to go. My sister-in-law lives in Kenya.
Oh wow, nice.
She's a teacher out there, and so we decided we were gonna just go visit. The tickets were dirt cheap, so it was like, let's go. So we went during like Christmas vacation time, and we had such an amazing time there. But the entire time I was there, I was saying to myself, man, I keep seeing everybody talking about they have this experience, this moment, just being in the motherland and just waking up there, and I was like, when is my moment gonna come? I was overthinking this, right? Seriously overthinking it. I was like, I don't feel anything, I don't feel different. Like what's going on? I didn't feel it at the airport. I felt really welcome, you know.
100.
But I didn't get what I thought I should have experienced until like 2 days before I was getting ready to leave. We went to this place called Karura Forest.
Oh wow.
And we were taking a walk. We were all hiking. It was me, my sister, my husband, and my twins. And so we were taking that walk, and for some reason, I ended up walking behind of everybody. I just was drifting off in the back, you know. And all of a sudden, I was breathing the best I have ever breathed in my life. The air felt crisp and clean. The hair on my skin started to stand. I had this moment where I could feel the blood rushing through my veins, everything. It was surreal. And I stopped, and all I could say was, Samuel, do you feel that? Like literally, I called my husband. I was like, do you feel that? And it's crazy because he felt the same thing at the same time. He literally looked around and he's like, yes.
Wow.
It was surreal. It was a moment, and I think it's because I wasn't even thinking about experiencing a moment anymore. You know, it just happened. And it's like for a minute there's like time stood still. You know, it was amazing. I just felt so good to be there. I just have never been able to breathe like that. Or just feel so clear. You know, there's so much pollution in the world today. It's like your nose is always stuffy, it's smoke in the air. But let me tell you, I ain't never breathed air that clean in my life. My lungs felt filled. There was just a feeling, I can't even describe it. Words cannot describe. It's just physically and mentally, it was different.
100%. There's no place like home.
I still get chills just thinking about it, man. So I had that moment. I definitely shed a little tear when I saw Queen Omega, because I was like, I understand that now.
I hear that. Because as soon as I see the video of her running out and kissing the floor, I was like, I feel you, sis. I feel it, and it takes you right back to that moment when you went back, you know. And Yeah, it's incredible.
Yes. I really enjoyed it. We enjoyed ourselves so much that we went back, and I lived in Kenya for a while, for a few months.
Wow.
You know, my twins were homeschooled, and it was like, why not?
Yeah. So how was that? How was that? Living in...
It was amazing.
Yeah.
We tried out Rwanda first.
Okay.
And we didn't really like it too much. It just wasn't for us.
Okay.
There wasn't enough to do for the twins, and we just were like, this isn't for us. I loved that it is one of the top 11 safest and cleanest places to live in the world. Like,
yeah.
And it is true. It is true. That place is so clean, and it's heavily policed.
Okay.
And that was something that I had to get adjusted to. You know, in most of Africa, you'll see it. They have these machine guns out with the police.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming from America, that I was startled every time I saw it. But Rwanda wasn't for us, although we had some really good experiences there.
Yeah.
We was like, there's no place like Kenya. So we went back to Kenya, and we spent a few months there, and I enjoyed it. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We definitely plan to make the trip back, and hopefully we'll be there permanently soon.
Wow.
But I love Kenya, the people, the energy, the spirit, the vibes. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. I love it. I have friends in Kenya right now. We still communicate.
Nice.
I know a lot of the artists out of Kenya. They were just welcoming. They welcomed me with open arms. A lot of DJs out there, to the point where now I have Kenyan DJ friends that are in America, you know, and still in Kenya. There are people I have to link. I can't just go there and not link up my peoples, you know. So it's been such an amazing experience, and also getting to know people who live in Kenya that aren't Kenyans, and they aren't necessarily Americans either. Like, you know, people from Ethiopia, just different places in Africa. Yeah. So it's just been a wonderful experience for me and my family, and I definitely gotta go back.
I love that. See, I went to the Gambia, and that was like an amazing experience. It's full of love, you know. Everyone was happy to see you. Yeah. Nothing like it.
I definitely want to go there.
To be fair, I want to go everywhere in Africa, but it's going to take ages.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Definitely will. Yeah.
So tell us about your EP. I feel like people need to know about your EP and what's coming out.
So, with my EP, I contacted Tippy.
Okay.
He's very big in the reggae music industry. Out of St. Croix also. And growing up in St. Croix and watching my sister Desiree sing, she actually did one of her first albums with Tippy, which is Fire, I believe. Yeah. And I was always around. So I got to know Vaughn, I got to know Ronnie Benjamin, I got to know Tippy, I got to know a lot of the reggae artists. Nice. And I was young, like really young coming up. And so I know pressure, I know a whole lot of them. And Tippy is just somebody that I always wanted to work with when I switched over into the reggae arena. Yeah. And so I reached out to him, and he was like, okay. So he sent me some tracks again, and again I was on the highway driving, and the inspiration came, and I started to write. I did 4 songs. So the first 2 songs I sent, and he had that back to me in like 2 weeks. You know. Wow. Working with Zion Kings was amazing. Like his production team. It's amazing because it's like these musicians are spread out all over the world, and they work so quickly. Yeah. So quickly. And so when I got the music back, I was amazed because I wrote the song to fit the music, right? Yeah. And then they turned around and then they did some overdubs, and then they did the music to fit my song, to fit my vocals, to fit what I did. And I thought that was so precious, so amazing. Like, you know, I haven't had that experience before. Yeah. You know, usually you get a track and that's the track. Yeah, you know? I hear that. right to that, and that's what it is. And if anything is done, it's like if the track was more electronic. The most I've ever experienced is that they'll remake the music and just use live instruments instead of it being so electronic. But not with Cyanide Kings. Like, they tailored that music to what I wrote, and I was thoroughly impressed. And I am so looking forward to meeting all of the musicians that had a hand in bringing the project to life. It's just, it was amazing working with them. And TP he was awesome every step of the way. He kept me informed, and he gave me what I was looking for.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Nice guy, Tippy.
Yeah. And then he mixed and mastered the music and everything. So I'm definitely, I feel honored that I was able to work with them there, because they are so awesome and big in this genre for sure. And there are a lot of artists that are hoping to have the opportunity to work with them, and I was able to do that like with ease. So I give thanks for that.
100%, yeah. So
I remember when I remember when I had my first project. It was an R&B CD.
Yeah.
And Tippy has a music store in the Virgin Islands where he sells, different cultural products and stuff, and he would sell CDs of people from the Virgin Islands and just everywhere. And he was one of the very first persons who agreed to sell my CD.
Nice.
He literally reached out and he was like, let me sell your album. And that was it for me. I was so happy because I went to a lot of people who really weren't willing. So he was one of the first persons, and he just gave me an opportunity. So there was always a soft spot in my heart for Tippy.
Big up, Tippy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So with this piece of work, what are you planning to do? What are you planning to do with it? It's a big question, but what are you planning?
So with the project, I touch on several topics in there, but overall, the goal of the project is to inspire, to have people relate, to educate and inform, and just to give you an overall vibe and to encourage. I touch on, like you've heard with In and Out of Love, topics of like abuse and just emotions. With You or I, it's a topic of self-reflection, self-love, understanding your worth. It talks about the power of femininity, appreciating who you are, And then I have Lift Up My Head, which is basically a prayer in simple terms, like, calling out to Jah, humbling yourself, and asking for direction, while also giving thanks for protection and being covered by Him, and, knowing that you are a child of the Most High and recognizing your strength, So I touch on all those different topics, and then I touch on I, which speaks about, for me, my longing, what was always my longing to go home to Mama Africa. And so I touch on several different topics, topics that people can relate to in terms of love and relationships. And I talk about, self-worth, because right now we have an issue with our women thinking that the only thing that is worth anything is their sexuality or just showing their bodies. And I want them to know that there's more to life than that.
100%.
You're worth it. You're worth everything. It's heart music, So there's so much with this very short EP. It's just 4 songs, but there's so much. It's a powerhouse of things or messages that I want to communicate and get across to my listeners. Yes, the music is compelling. Yes, the vocals are great. The harmonies, it sounds beautiful, but there are messages that I want you to listen to. I want you to take away something that benefits you. And so for me, that's the goal, to just be able to reach somebody. Yeah.
Well, you've already succeeded that goal, because you've reached me. So you've succeeded and beyond. 100%.
I feel blessed. Give thanks.
Every time. So I mean, people are asking me online, when are you coming to the UK?
Listen, as soon as you guys will have me.
That's a good answer. I like that.
I am willing to come. I am definitely willing to come. I would love to take a trip to the UK. I would love to spread my message to you guys and just vibe with you guys, because I don't consider me singing a performance. It's an experience. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
And I definitely am willing to come, and we're working on it.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
Guys, I will see you sooner than later.
Ooh, that sounds great. So, you know, I mean, I've got to ask you, would you be up for singing a little something now?
Sure.
Okay. Well, whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to drop to the people, let it go.
What a very good song. Probably, I have a song called Bun It. Have you ever heard Bun It?
Yeah, I've heard it. It's fire as well.
So Bun It is basically one of those songs that's really rooted in VI history.
Yeah.
It's opened with a folk song, and the backstory is that we had people who were formerly called slaves, I guess, that were now like more indentured servants.
Okay.
And the pay was very low, and there was a lot of issues. They had to work for the same people that were their masters under worse circumstances than when they were enslaved.
Yeah.
And there was this thing called Labor Day. It was a contract day that took place on October 1st, which was the only day you were able to break your contract or get a different boss, work for somebody else. And there was so much surrounding that. So the song is kind of based on it a little bit, the folk song at the beginning, and then the song goes into talking about, being strong, and understanding your history and where you come from, and that's basically what that song is about, for anyone who may be wondering when I do sing it.
Nice.
Okay. In the name of the queens who fought before me, warrior kings, the ones who made history, I sing praises no matter where I stand, no matter where I am. An eye for an eye. Gone are the days when we sit silent while they abuse I rebuke bad mind. Jealousy and envy have no place in clean heart. We burn it out. We burn, he said, she said, melebang burn it. Crab in a bucket mentality, we burn it. Social injustice and poverty, we burn it. Miseducation of the youth, them we burn it. Hard work and determination is what make me. Nobody fight down, nobody else pick me. Jah pick me, Jah pick me. Yeah, said Jah pick me. The truth is the fire, let we burn it. It's a go burn, kill the road, find the truth, flip it upside down. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Sack the place on fire, burn the whole thing down. Burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it. Just it a go burn.
Easy. Wow. You can't see it, but lots of fire emojis are coming through, love hearts, all sorts going on.
Give thanks, give thanks.
Wow. You need to tell the people how they can find you, how they can support you, and if they want to book you, how that can happen.
Oh, definitely. You can find me on social media, on Instagram and on TikTok. I go by _Kenya Eugene and then another underscore. And on Facebook, it's just straight Kenya Eugene, no space, no dash, no nothing. So that's KenyaEugene. I can also be found on my website at www.kenyaheartmusic.com. That's www.kenyaheartmusic.com. You can reach my manager at kenyaheartmusic@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And he can also be reached at the SOA group at gmail.com.
So you're everywhere.
You can also reach him by cell at +1 443 540 7502.
Wow.
And his name is Sam Joseph.
Yes, big up every time. You know, the amount of love and energy that's coming through the airwaves right now, just because
Give thanks.
people are relating to what you're saying, in regards to your songs and your music, but also just how you're talking and how you're coming across is just a vibe. So they're loving it.
Give thanks. That's a blessing for me.
Every time. So, you know what, sis? I hope that we get to meet one day in person, and it's been a joy and an honor to speak with you.
Same here. I am actually the one that's honored to be given this opportunity to actually sit and talk with you, and just get my perspective and my point of views across, and helping people to get to know who Kenya Eugene is.
Anytime.
So give thanks for that.
Yes, right. We have to. And you know, anything you want support with in regards to sharing or anything like that, let me know, and I'm happy to support you. Because
Give thanks.
you're fire, and yeah, man, looking forward to seeing what happens for the future.
Yeah, I appreciate love that. Give thanks for that. And to everybody that's listening, give thanks. From the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate you guys for just tuning in and for the support. All of my music could be found on any digital platform you could think about. All digital platforms. And for anybody that's like me, I like to download the actual MP3s and have it on my phone.
Yeah.
So I am it's supposed to be going up today on my website, so you can also go to my website and download the MP3 for yourself, so you have 24/7 access to it, and you don't have to stream. So if anything goes down and connection is unstable, you have it right there in your phone.
So there's no excuses. That's what you're saying, right? There's no excuses.
Yes, yes.
You know, sis, I'm sure we'll speak again, and it's been, like I said, an absolute joy to speak with you. And people that are saying that reggae isn't really in the Virgin Islands, I feel like they've just been wiped clean. They've been wiped clean. So I appreciate that.
They definitely do a little more research, guys.
Yeah.
And you'll see how heavy it is in the Virgin Islands, like really heavy.
For real. But any final words, sis, that you want to say to the listeners and the people out there who are locked in?
Oh, definitely. Go to my YouTube channel. Listen to the EP. I am sure you will be pleasantly surprised and blessed. And don't forget to leave a comment. Share how you relate to the music, because I am definitely sure that there's so much people out there that could benefit from your words or your experience, how you feel like you can relate to the music. Because one of the things I like to do when I go and listen to other people's music on YouTube is I like to read the comments.
Yeah.
And I relate to a lot of the comments, so I think that I want that too. I like to read through my comments and see that, oh my gosh, somebody can actually relate to this song, or this was a blessing to them, or this helped somebody through a situation. So leave a comment. Let the people know how you're enjoying the music, if it's something that you can relate to, or something that's been helpful to you.
Yeah.
That would definitely be a blessing to my heart, blessing to me, and to somebody else. So yeah.
I love that. So people, go out there, go and get commenting and sharing right now, and check out my sister, because you've got my support, sis.
Give thanks, Kat. I definitely appreciate you, and I will definitely keep the link.
Yeah, man, definitely.
And you'll be one of the first to get any new music, anything that comes out.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I'm looking forward to it. We'll speak again soon, I'm sure.
All right, blessings. Thank you so much for having me, Kat.
Anytime. Bless up, bless.
Bless.
Yes, people, what a joy, what a blessing to speak to Kenya Eugene. Please do go out there and support her, go and show her some love, and of course, go and check her out.